Hello, myself Sunil Ramakrishna. Here basically are discussing on the topic that is city creation, city person basically are discussing on the topic that is future creation. And in future creation basically are discussing one of the topic that is India account. In India account basically we are discussing about SBI account, Amazon account, and after 2 days basically the big earthquake is going to be. In this basically we have discussed lots of lava data, 100 child basically going to generate. Rich people basically are connected with the whole world because only rich people basically can do the investment basically. Only rich people basically can do the investment. So they are connected with the whole world according to their energy basically the sorry 18 cities the example basically I had taken from that basically the child was getting the energy. That is one thing basically. So here the main thing is what basically the whole one person basically literally asked the question basically the whole world basically is created like this only. That is actually question basically whole world actually created that is created this way only. The answer will be 100% yes. Previously the king family basically was doing this everything, but everything basically was controlled from universe basically. There was not a nuclear plant also here. There was not a single nuclear plant in earth planet at the time of king family basically. King families and their energy basically are also basically connected with the physical creations only. But now basically the trend basically has changed. So from satellite to give energy basically their body basically can't support because from direct satellite to human body basically if energy gets then basically he will get head pain, body pain, I don't know what else basically is going to get. Why? Because his body basically is not ready for that. For that basically the base should be must powerful basically. That time basically the king family basically was king family means Shivaji Maharaj. If you will give direct satellite data to Shivaji group, Shivaji Maharaj, if basically he is existing, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, basically, if he is existing somewhere, basically, lots of people say the history never ends. So Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj also basically exists somewhere, where basically that basically we can't say, wherever basically he might be, but he exists basically, because history never ends. That is the rule of the universe. History data basically never ends because it might possible that any time that data might required basically. So that data basically has never ended. Abraham Lincoln, John Walker's Booth. So these all people basically died in front of the world, but they never ends. Why? Because they have created history. History means after lots of incidents. Basically, for example, Nathuram Godse, Mahatma Gandhi. These all people basically still exist somewhere. Basically. Still exist basically. Subhash Chandra Bose. This all basically still exists. Why? Because history never ends. So here the question basically is the rich people basically are on the base of their data the creation has created. But where this data basically is, where this freedom fighters and the people who basically are created into history, where their data basically are. That is also question basically. Because if history never ends, that means their energies are also basically getting some getting from some set of cities. Mahatma Gandhi ji, he is getting basically energy from any of the cities basically. Like this, basically many groups are basically there. So here the question is, rich people is basically one of the data, because world basically can't create on the base of one data. It's not possible basically. And mostly basically if it's created, then basically it's a error. But mostly this type of silly mistake basically nobody will do basically. So in the world basically there are many types of data. First is the blood group owners. For example, one person basically got chikungunya. So he will get, if he will not get the medicine basically from that person basically who is the owner of chikungunya, that means the data basically, the medicine basically which is created from his energy basic. Nowadays basically nobody takes energy basically. They basically takes energy, so nobody takes blood cells basically. Nowadays basically the energies are taken, and on the base of energy basically the medicines are prepared. So until basically he will not get the medicine from that particular person's energy data, basically, he will not get proper treatment. His chikungunya effect basically still basically will there after 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. Until basically will not get data from that original chikungunya. So there is one owner of chikungunya disease. There is one owner of corona disease. So each and every disease basically have one owner. And if they are producing the medicine nowadays, that means they are a normal person basically. So this data basically are also into the cities. The freedom fighters basically that we have already discussed. Then the rich people group. Lots of people says that the people basically who are into the government sector and the Bollywood sector, there also basically lots of followers basically are there. Their followers. But they are who basically? They basically are just a employee of Bollywood basically. They are basically playing the role of any of the one real person basically. For example, Shah Rukh Khan. Shah Rukh Khan is playing the role of one person basically. He basically himself basically don't have any, but he basically personal life is there basically. But his role, his characteristics, his behavior, how he basically talk, how basically he behave with the other peoples, and then basically how his life is basically in front of the public basically. That life is basically of somebody else basically. That's why basically he's playing the role of that particular person. Same way basically the some big personality. For example, in banking sector basically World Bank is there, the Switzerland Bank is there, then the Swiss Bank is there. Switzerland and Swiss both are same basically. Then basically the other big level banks are there. Government authorized person basically are there. They are so intelligent basically. Nobody can take their place. If they will get absent basically one day in the office basically, it will create history basically. I'm telling you. History means that day basically lots of things basically is going to happen. So their energy basically are also created in the city basically, and their data basically are also spreaded. So that basically the people basically who basically believe in this person basically, so they also get his energy, and they also can become, they also basically can try to become like that particular person. But here the thing is, it will take time to become that same person. But the energy basically connects, and they basically becomes little bit, at least basically 90 percentage like that particular person. But 100% basically you can't become like that same person. That's how basically energy of this type of people basically are also taken. God family, their data basically are also taken into the picture. Their temple basically are also, their temple has created whatever energy basically that is created from their energy. The creations basically which are created from their energies, that are also basically taken into the picture. So one thing basically, nobody depends on one thing. So nuclear power company basically say that basically we don't depend on one group basically. We can't become on one group. For example, Sunilar Nair basically was supposed to get job in when basically he was in Mumbai. But he has not got the job. Why? Because there was no rich person basically in Mumbai who told that basically Sunil basically I am with you. I am with you, Sunil. There was not a single person basically. When basically Sunil Nair visited Bangalore basically, there was not a single person who told that basically Sunil हम तेरे साथ है. That's why Sunil Nair basically not got the job. Why? Because they had told that basically भाई हम तेरे साथ नहीं हैं. So I had not got the job. I have not got the money. Not got the job, that means basically no money. So you can just imagine basically how the things are basically connected. So you can just imagine basically how the world basically is connected. So one person basically told that the lava basically which is getting dumped, the software company has created project basically of this Mahatma Gandhi also, the project of Nathuram Godse also, the project of Subhash Chandra Bose also, the project of that powerful people also. Because project is equal to one person basically. And here basically one person basically single project to create basically is very difficult. So that converts to one single group. Because you have to maintain also, you have to handle that project also. So they basically created as a group basically. So one person group. So one person basically told that basically how basically these are handled there basically. Because how dangerous thing is basically. That city is invested by this particular person and he is basically getting energy from that area. So how dangerous thing is, it's not basically, do you think, do you don't think basically it's a very dangerous thing basically which world has basically already created. That person basically got some disease, rich person basically, got some disease, repair basically was not ongoing. Doctor told that basically we have to do the operation. They told that basically we can't afford the operation. So they told that basically clear that area basically. And he invested 1 lakh crore basically rupees there basically. 1 lakh crore basically is nothing basically for rich people basically. He directly invested 1 lakh crore. 1 lakh crore means you can just imagine basically. 1,000,040. 1 lakh basically. Like this basically 1 lakh crore. This is 1 crore basically. Like this basically 1 lakh. So you can just imagine basically. So here basically I'm not talking basically that rich people basically are spending lots of money and basically Sunil Nair basically is not getting nothing basically. So that basically I'm not talking here basically. Here basically we are just discussing that basically the lava data basically which has created in that basically 100 crore child is going to happen. That project basically contains what all data basically, because that data basically is very dangerous data basically. That's why that data contains lots of energy, lots of people's powerful energy basically. That data only basically can process into the lava. Otherwise normal person energy will go inside, it will basically die basically there in that lava. Basically his data will die. So that's why powerful person basically data is required. Powerful person data is required. So that is that powerful people basically. So you can just imagine basically how the creation basically is created. And this everything is created. Lots of people say that there is no error. World is basically ongoing. That means creation basically has done perfectly basically. Otherwise basically world might have ended long before basically. If the creation basically has gone wrong, then world basically might have created long before basically. वर्ल्ड जो है बहुत पहले ही खत्म हो जाता. If the creation basically might not have created like this, like good way basically. So you can just able to imagine basically what are the things basically. So one of the person told that basically like this basically the creation basically has created. Like this basically the creation has created. And this everything is already created. So you can just imagine basically each and everything is created basically. Everything is created. And there is no error, that means everything is fine. So one person told that everything is connected with investment, and that basically investment is bank basically, who is handling this everything. The bank basically who is handling everything. So bank basically is handling everything. So bank basically say that basically we have the data of each and every person whose energy basically are connected with his body. So you can just imagine basically how the creation has created. So here basically we are not discussing that creation basically has created wrongly or the creation has been created wrongly or basically not properly. That basically we are not discussing here. If world basically is going fine, that means world the creation basically which has happened basically that is perfectly created. But here the question is the future lava data basically which has created that basically has created perfectly, because here the question is there is no lava bank, right, which is going to track the information of each and every data. So lots of people says that bank basically is handling the entire investment, but they don't have the data like Sunil R Nair generation ended, and in that basically the lava has dumped that Sunil R Nair generation basically is going to end. Sorry, has ended, and his next generation basically is not going to happen. That data is also dumped basically because that data is going to process inside the land basically. So is there any side effect basically which is going to happen? Lots of people says that this was also basically one of the part of experiment. But really basically that is going to affect basically. Lots of people says basically whether it is correct basically that not we don't know. That basically time is only going to tell whether it going, for example, Sunil Arnair basically generation ended by one group due to that decision basically. But really basically my generation was not ended. Just taking as an example basically. So that data is going to process and that data basically is going to produce something basically in future. That data is going to produce something basically in future. So one of the person told that 100 crore child is going to happen. So that is the base basically, right? After that only basically the human needs each and every things come into the picture. Investment basically. When basically the birth will happen, then only the investment will come into the picture. If birth will not happen, then basically investment. So my investment basically somebody is doing. He's telling that basically we have finished your investment also. Why? Because you had done some murder, and in murder basically company basically will not give you the money. So my future generation ended. My current generation also basically ended by rich people. So this type of idea basically who gets? Lots of people says that political people basically can do anything to reduce the expense. That are BJP and Congress. But they basically have their lifestyle as a king basically. But they basically have their lifestyle like a king. So here basically we are not talking about that thing basically. So here the thing is the future generation basically has ended. In that basically police department, Indian army, then the Indian police department, then the Indian Supreme Court, in the Indian high courts, then the temple groups and the mosque church, each and every group basically told that Sunil Arna's generation ended. So they basically done Nasbandi and they basically given him AIDS also, and then basically they have charged one murder case also, that he had done some murder also. So his current generation also basically they ended. So this all user story basically connected into the lava data. And that lava data basically, when you decode it basically, that is the investment of the 1 lakh company's 10 crore project. So that is the root basically data you. also you can, that is the output. And that output basically when you do the decode basically, that basically comes to total investment basically done by the investor basically. So here basically investor are who basically do the investment basically, who basically do the investment basically, who basically do the investment. So banks basically have that output data, because bank have the data of each and every investment basically. Bank basically have the blood owners investment data also. Blood owner investment data also they have. You will not able to believe that basically. So banks basically are, but that basically are up to that level banks basically. Up to that level basically banks. So here we thought that basically only rich people basically are connected here. But now it's connected to see basically the chip, how it's connected. So that lava basically contains entire information with the help of this 1 lakh company who created 10 crore projects. So this 10 crore project basically contains everything. So you can just imagine basically how the creation basically has been. So in next video basically we are going to see little bit more about this topic.